What's up, Ron? What's up, peoples? How's everyone doing today in the world of life? We're in the world of life? Yes, we are. Welcome, Ron, Tony, Marcus, Philip, Nick. I dare you to improvise on bass bone. So, Belle's asking, I've had a hard time understanding how to use the trigger trombone. It's real simple. When you hit the F attachment, the trigger, all it does is it takes 6th position into 1st position. That's all it's doing there. Dorsey's asking if I am working on a new CD. Yeah, I got all kinds of ideas in the phone and just kind of formulating them. But yeah, that's something I plan to roll out and probably going to be out in 2020, a new CD. Improvise on a pop song for fun. Okay. Okay, so questions here. What are essential simple solos to learn for beginning improvisers? Well, there's many. There's no real right answer to that, but I would stick to simple. So I would stick to something that you can sing along to relatively fast. So you listen to it a couple times, you got it memorized. Something very melodic. It's going to be much easier for you to learn that solo on your instrument if it's melodic, which means that you can sing note for note the solo after listening to it just a very few amount of times. So I would like choose some J.J. Johnson, some simple J.J. Johnson solos out there. There's many that can get you going as far as that vocabulary. Or then there's also some solos of Louis Armstrong and Miles Davis that are great to start improvising. How do you improvise and like make it sound good? Well, the question, that's kind of an interesting thing. What I have found is that if you start your idea on a chord tone and you're into your idea on a chord tone, as long as the line has momentum in the line, you can pretty much get away with almost anything. As long as you know where you start and you know where you end, you can kind of interweave through the harmony and make it work. And great improvisers may play something that doesn't quite sound good initially, but they reinforce it, and they kind of train themselves into making their mistakes sound intentional in adapting them into a musical context. Does that make sense? So Nicholas is asking, what do I do for a warm-up? I have many different warm-ups. I go into different strategies all the time. A lot of them I documented in my book, but I can say that I go like this a lot when I first start playing. And I'll hold that note out as long as I possibly can, and then I'll straight up just like go get a cup of coffee or whatever, and I won't come back to the horn for a while. And the first thing I do is a long tone at a very nice soft volume. And I try to do it at a volume where it won't wake up anybody. Like say somebody's sleeping and I don't want to wake them up, but I do it at that right moment where the tone starts to happen without being overpowering and without being wimpy. So it's still got some nice meat to the sound, but it's not too loud and it's not too soft. And it's right there at a conversational volume, and then I just hold out a long tone as long as I can, a nice thick wall of sound, and then I go take a break. And I find that really helps me get the day going. We got a question about, Kevin says, Paul, I have a 1G mouthpiece for my bass trombone. Was thinking of going to small bowl. Any suggestions? You know, Kevin, it's just one of those things. You know, I always say that mouthpieces are like eyeglass prescriptions. Everyone's got their unique prescription. So it's one of those things that your body kind of knows right away if it's a good fit. So I would just try it and see how it feels. I would never buy a mouthpiece without trying it. I like to try the mouthpiece. Try it out. See how it feels. And if it's a good fit, you'll know real quick on a mouthpiece. Jared says, hey, Paul, what advice would you give a beginner for air support, blow through, or just release? I'm in the release camp, but having trouble relating this to some middle school students. Yeah. So if you can imagine that your throat turns into a nice, thick, open column, like a huge, fat tunnel, and the air column is blowing through that thing. And you just visualize that opening up. And this goes, and the jaw actually goes down. It will help visualize what's happening. And you got to start learning how our bodies adapt to breathing. So as we breathe, our rib cages expand like this, right? They expand like this. And Conrad Herwig told me years ago when I was a teenager to imagine that you have wings expanding. Like you have wings expanding. So as you breathe in the air, these wings are expanding. And when you start to kind of visualize that and to start to understand the anatomy of how our bodies work and how our ribs are buoyant, fluid things and they're not like constricted things, and to imagine that the air is going through a thick, nice tunnel And that all that stuff, once you start to kind of visualize that stuff, that helps with the air, right? And I always like to use the analogy that like this is the car, right? This is the engine, and what's going to make this thing go? What is going to make this thing go? What's going to make it go is our air, right? Our air is the gas. So if the air is not happening, then nothing else is happening. How do I improve lip slurs, Swan's asking? Well, you practice them slow. So you want to start simple, slow lip slurs, like something like this. Now the rule with a lip slur is that you're only allowed to articulate the first note in the series of the lip slur. So the very first note that you play, you can use your tongue, and then everything else has to be air. So that's what's going to make a lip slur work. So you can go ta, and you're only allowed to articulate the very first lip slur, all right? Hello, Martina. Hello, everyone. Philip's asking, I like ballads. Which style of music do you prefer on the trombone? I like ballads too. It seems like the older I get, the more I love ballads. It's kind of funny. It's like when you're younger, you think that faster and bebopping stuff is fast, is impressive and stuff. But as you get older, you start to just only care about ballads. Honestly, I just like playing ballads these days. I love ballads. Ballads are awesome. So, but I like to have variety. You can't do one thing over and over. You're gonna get sick of it. Jordan says, what exercises do you improve your high octaves? Well, there's a lot of them, but you can just practice your octaves, and you got to visualize that every time you hit an octave above, it's twice as fast air. So it's like when you just start to imagine that like the octaves literally are twice as fast air if you're going up the octave, or half the speed of the air when you're going down an octave. It really helps to hit those notes when it comes time, when you start to visualize that it's totally like that. Now, there's scales, like the major scales. Like I still practice the major scales more than anything. More than anything, I practice the major scales because like that's what's up, right? The major scales are straight up your best friend for the rest of your life. I practice them every day for 25 years. I always practice the major scales more than anything. Joseph's asking, do I still take lessons? Every once in a while I will take a lesson. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to always kind of get some maintenance, take lessons, get a different perspective. You can learn from everyone. So I'm always trying to soak up things and learn stuff. Nicholas is asking, how did I get so popular? I don't know. I've just been putting stuff up for a while. Am I popular? I don't even know. Okay. Martina, what up? Let's see. Nick says, have I made any videos about starting youngsters with playing soloing free books? Yeah, I mean, all my books are on my website. I got about 4 books out right now. PauloTrombonist.com. I got a bunch of different playlists I put on my YouTube channel, some about playing free. That's a good, Nick, that's a good thing. It's a good point. I should do a video about free playing. That's something I've been actually wanting to do for a while. Belle is asking, were you a music major in college? Do you know music theory? Yeah, totally. I went to music school for many years. Went to Berklee College of Music. I studied it all. I studied classical. I studied jazz, composition, advanced theory. I got my master's in jazz studies. I mean, I really studied music, and then I love pop music. Okay, so Steven says, what's up, Paul? What is the best microphone to use live on the cheap, and what do you prefer? So a SM58, it's a standard live mic, is pretty awesome. So that's just one that's been around forever. It's the standard one. It works great live, and you can use it for everything. It's under $100. You could probably find a used one for like 50 or under than that. Now, as far as recording, if you want to get a badass microphone for recording, I really like the Royer 122 or the Royer 121. I also like a lot of AEA mics. I also like, there's so many, right? But my favorite for trombone is the Royer. One of my favorite. So Brittany says, do you think valve trombones are ugly? No, I love valve. I was just listening to Bob Brookmeyer yesterday. I love valve trombone. How do you develop your bebop language? You just copy people. You slow it down. You study note from note. You slow it down. And then you do it like baby steps and then work up the tempo as you get comfortable. But you got to copy people. You can't just get language with... It's like when we were learning to speak English. We copied our surroundings, our environment. We didn't just start speaking it. And when you study another language, what's inside the books? It's like, how do you do? May I go to the restroom? Like language like that. And we copy these sentences and repeat them over and over. And then eventually you'll say, yo, I got to go pee. You know, and you start to adapt it to your own style. And that's exactly how improvisation works. I am a huge fan of Irby Green, for sure. Got the box set. I got all his recordings and his albums. What position is G? High G is in sharp second. So like, it's like here. It's almost in first. It's almost there. So it's not here. It's here. That's where G's at, all right? So we got a question about all-state level. I never did all-state. I never did that. But I did compete in my high school jazz bands and stuff. And did stuff like that. So, asked about youth education. Do you think less youth are interested in... No, I think that people... This is the thing. The music will always find the people. As far as like jazz music, whatever, it's like it just has a way of finding the people. It's alive and well, and people will always love this music. This music will always be around. People will always love it. It's not going away anywhere. Is it less popular than it was back in the day? Maybe. But you know what? It's got a huge group of people that just love it. And it will always be like that forever. It's never going to go away. It's too magical of a thing that exists for there not to be an audience. It's too good. If something's very good, it naturally attracts an audience. It just naturally attracts an audience. So that's how I feel about that. If I have 20 minutes, what would I practice? I would just do some long tones, some lip slurs, some articulation stuff. So I practice all my major scales for like, I'd get that done in like 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'd play maybe a ballad, maybe do something like this. Play some ballads, whatever. Hey Paul, what are some things you wish you knew when you were first starting music professionally? Melody asks. Great question, Melody. Now, what I wish I learned, we all learn how to, when we go to school, we learn the craft. We learn how to do the artistic side of it. We learn how to get good at that kind of stuff. What I wish I learned was how to make money doing this stuff. Like strategy, how to start a business, how to market yourself, how to sell your services, how to do all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I wish that I learned at the beginning. It's like you could be the greatest musician in the world, but if people don't know you exist, it's not going to matter. So you got to really market yourself, market your music, market your stuff, market your passion. And that's something I've actually been passionate about lately is is that aspect of it. Because I built a business, I have a company, and I've lately been teaching people. So if you're actually into that stuff, I do have a free workshop at paulthetrombonist.com/register, and you can watch a presentation that I have about building your passion and how to turn it into a career that will generate income for you, because we never are taught that stuff. So how do you practice long tones? You just practice them. I like to practice them with a metronome. I'll have the metronome going on, and I'll just have it doing nice and slow. I like to treat long tones as like meditating. Like you meditate in the sound. You don't want to ever be in a rush when you do long tones, or else you're not going to do them justice. So your mind has to be in the present moment. That's another thing when you're practicing, is your mind has to be in the present moment. You can't just like do practicing and thinking about what you got to do later on the day, what you did yesterday. You can't think that stuff when you're practicing. You got to think in the present moment, or else you're not going to do the practicing any justice. You could get more done being very intense and very focused in 5 minutes than you can in an hour of your mind wandering. Okay. Someone wants me to play Stella by Starlight. So where did I get this mouthpiece from? I have all my equipment listed on my website, paulthetrombonist.com, in the equipment tab. But this is my wick. It's a Heritage. If you want to know the exact model, you just go to my website. I made it simple, so all my equipment is there for you. No problem. So a melody, yes. I will be at the NAMM show as well, so if you're there, I'll probably be walking around. I'll probably be at the BAC booth a lot there as well. That's a trombone company. So you can find me there and all that stuff. So any other questions? Well, you guys are the best. If you find value in this, hit a little like, leave a little comment, and say hello or whatever like that. What type of trombone would you recommend for the casual community concert band? Just get like a King 3B, something like that. It's a good trombone to get. Probably get a used one for around 500, 700 bucks, something like that. Be good for you. If you want an F attachment, I got an option on my website that's a really good one. I got some trombones on my website that are good options for you guys if you're interested. What do you think of Turkish music? Yeah, I like Turkish music. It's great. I had a Turkish friend when I was in college, and he would hit me to a lot of great music. So that's usually how that goes. Okay, everyone? You guys are good people. Some of the best people I ever met. Okay, so I'll play a little bit and then I'm going to peace out of here. Have you ever pinched your finger on your slide? Yes, that is the worst. Oh my gosh. That's one of the things they haven't quite fixed yet on the trombone, is that pinching of the finger thing. It's like, when is that ever going to be solved? Because whoever can solve that is going to be a rich person. I guarantee that. Because that's something that they've never solved before. All right, my dear friends, you guys take have a great day. All right. What brand is this trombone? It's my BAC Custom 6. It's got engraving. Custom engraving. Says Paul the Trombonist. I love this one. All right. Take care.